This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
snowsql -a, the entire name, account dot region dot the cloud provider -u s model. If you want to clear the screen, what is the command?
Control L.
Control L.
Yep. Use sfdb dot sf schema. You can directly use this as well. Okay. So was there any issue you even using after this particular thing? So I saw in the WhatsApp group somebody was struggling to connect, right? So was it resolved or how is it?
I believe it is resolved, Shagar. After a couple of messages, he's able to
Mm-hmm.
log in. But
Mm-hmm.
the other person was having the issue with the Snow SQL when he's trying to run the Snow SQL
Mm-hmm.
as a script. He was facing some issue. Not sure what is the issue, but yeah.
Who is it?
Yes, Shagar,
Raj.
it is me. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
me. Yes.
Raj.
So I
So
tried loading.
you're still having a challenge with that?
y- Yes, yes. I tried loading a SQL file, which is having a couple of SQL statement inside it.
How did
So
you load the? How did you run the SQL file?
uh, uh, I just used this one. That is one command basically. I just shared, and I just have to look
Okay.
into the WhatsApp. So, yeah, I
So no
googled some
SQL.
command,
Yeah,
and yeah,
-f and the file name. Is that what you
exactly.
have? Then that
Yes.
should run. That should run pretty fine. Let's see
Uh,
at the end of the class what the issue is. Okay,
yeah. Yes.
we can troubleshoot that. Not a problem. And somebody else were typing after logging into SnowSQL, right? If you type SnowSQL here, then it doesn't understand what SnowSQL, right? That is one more screenshot where they have I've seen the warehouse and then they're typing SnowSQL -c development. Who was that? So
Yeah.
this
This
it's
is me
only
actually.
okay. So there is no, you did a great job. You're working on it. Very nice. But once you are into SnowSQL, right? It doesn't know what SnowSQL means. Understood? You are already in Compute WH. If you look at the thing that you have posted, you are already logged in. And after that, if you are trying to do this, it's gonna fail. Get it? But you are exploring a lot many things. I'm glad, Raj. Very nice. Okay. And then coming back, right? So where were we? We were talking about the different scenarios: preload, post-load, right? One second. Yeah, validation mode. That's what we were trying to use that, right? So validation mode. There are three modes: return n rows, return errors, return all errors. And how does return n rows help you guys? Any answer? We talked about
N is nothing
validation.
but the number of rows, yeah, number of records,
Mm-hmm.
right? Shagar. So n
Yeah.
return
Rows.
underscore 2 row means it will give only 2 rows.
Hmm. Okay. When does it give only 2 rows?
If you specify n equal to 2.
No. So that is true. Return 2 rows is the command that you are going to write. But when does it return 2 rows?
Whenever it whenever it encounters errors more than two,
No,
then only it will return two errors.
no. Whenever it finds, yeah, I'm going to repeat that one more time. That is important, and we'll see a couple of exercises action on it. And somebody was asking me, so I couldn't see the name. The stage is gone, right? Who was that? Is it who asked
Uh,
me that this?
yes, Shekhar. Today I
Anjaneyulu.
yeah.
So I did load all my files in a temporary stage. My stage is also gone, but my stage is I do have the file. I created a temporary stage yesterday, right? Create or replace temporary stage, my temp stage, where I have loaded my emp1.csv, which had some errors, which we were trying to load, right?
Yes.
See, so this will be gone the moment I log out, or you have a mechanism in the production environments, right? You will have this NoSQL, and there is a parameter that you can set so that normally after 4 hours the connection will be gone. If you leave your laptop like this and gone after 4 hours, when you type something, right, it will ask to re-authenticate.
Yes.
So 4 hours is the limit. So you can extend that limit to 20, unlimited. That means this session is open, up and running. Something similar to web UI. Web UI is always up and running. Okay, you create a temporary stage in web UI as well. But the put command can only be done from snowsql, not from web UI. I have shown you that, right? So when you create a temporary stage, and if you did not close your web UI after 24 hours, if you try to see the list of the contents of that stage, the temporary stage is gone. Meaning it has a lifetime of 24 hours, or unless until you log out of the session. Are we clear?
Yes.
So I'm gonna use put file emp1.csv and then copy into emp from at the rate of my temp stage. I have only one file, I can use like this. If you have multiple files, you have to mention the name of the file as well. Validation is equal to return 2 rows. Okay. File underscore format is equal to my CSV format. So it throwed an error that row 4 column has an error. Sorry guys. 0402991981 is not a recognized file. Data is not recognized in this
It's
row 4.
EMP1. uh, EMP1, right, Shekhar?
I did not get you. What EMP1? Yeah, I'm using EMP1
The
only. If I
table.
say my term stage, no. Table is EMP. Files are different. You're having different files you are trying to load. If I go and then put this file, right, then I have to mention my file. I have now, because when I say my temp stage, I had only one file. Now I have to mention list at the rate of my temp stage. My temp stage is EMP. Previously it was only EMP1. So when I used this command, right? How many files I had? I had only one, so it didn't bother. Now I have to tell them this particular thing. See, row 4 column has an error. At the same time, if I go and change it to EMP, let's see what happens. There are no errors in EMP file. There are errors in EMP1 file. When you use validation mode and then write, it goes and looks. If it finds an error, it gets the first row of the error, row 4. But EMP doesn't have any errors. If it doesn't have any errors, it brings two records. That's it. It doesn't load anything at all. We have seen a scenario where on error, skip file 2 means if the threshold of 2 records didn't pass through, then fail that particular thing. So we are giving a threshold of only 2 records per file. That is a different thing. Here, this is we did not go to the on error conditions yet. We are still with the validation mode. The next thing we'll go and do the on error part of it. Am I able to reach you guys? Are you able to follow me?
Yeah, Shikha.
Yeah, got
Yeah,
it,
Shekhar.
sir.
Yeah.
So when you have, if I don't give this one, so I return 2 rows, right? I'll say return ERRORS. There are no errors for EMP. I have 4 rows of errors in the data file. So it's throwing me 4 rows. And if you have a big file of 1 TB and you have 10,000 errors, then it throws 10,000 errors on your screen. So this is a good way of doing things, but it is not the most performance way of doing things when you have. If you want to make sure that your file doesn't have any errors, and what is the easiest and fastest way of checking it out? If you say return 2 errors, it goes and how big
Returning
of the
to
file? Sorry, no matter what, how big is the file, it goes and just within couple of seconds, it throws you the first error, first line of error. This comes handy when you want to just make sure that there are no errors in your file. Most performant way. Are we clear?
Yeah.
Okay. And this validation mode, you cannot use validation mode when you are trying to transform the data. But there is one more catch in it. Let's show you that. Select $1. What happened? Oh my god. Okay. Copy into EMP from EMP temp stage. My CSV file. So whenever you are trying to read from a stage environment, you have to use file underscore format equal to greater than. If you are reading from stage using $1, $2, this is the format. You have to remember that. $5 replace because it says that the hyphens are not valid. Right? I'm trying to replace the hyphens with slashes. Okay. If I make this change, right? How many gases? I just replace the hyphen. Now every 15, all the 15 rows got loaded. Okay. When I say like this and then validation underscore mode is equal to return errors. Validation mode does not support copy with transform. I'm doing a transformation here. When I'm trying to do a transformation and I want to see whether after doing the transformation, if there is gonna failures on that, it doesn't allow. Validation mode does not run with the transformation part of it. Are we clear? You cannot use validation mode with a copy into from select $1 and do when you are trying to do any transformation on the data.
Just it is like working out only for dumping without any transformation.
Yeah, you just want to see what is the data that's there, then it just tells you out. Okay, are we
Shekhar
good?
sir, as yeah,
Mhm.
as soon as we use validation mode, does it perform insertion or it's a just
No,
insert
it
kind of
doesn't do no
inserts
no
and rolls back?
no insertion. It just validates. That's what I was telling from yesterday, right? Validation mode, it
Okay,
doesn't do any insertion. It just validates your data.
okay.
Okay, and now we'll see a scenario now and what happens, but I have to show you something else. So if I want to still, I don't want to do this, and then I'm not going to transform anything. If I want to still load the data, right? How do I load the data?
Yep.
So what did it do when I did then copy
Yeah,
executed with
extracting
zero?
the data from the like staging to main table, target table.
Yeah, that is true, but it did not process any files. Any particular reason?
In
Yeah, this
file
file is
format,
already
you would have
processed.
mentioned. No, in
No,
file
one second.
format, you would have already mentioned it,
No, no,
like
no,
on
no, I
error
did.
skip or something.
It is the same file that you're loading.
No, hold on. They are same file. Yes, EMP stuff. I said EMP, right? We have already loaded EMP. I'm gonna come there. Hold on one second. So emp1.csv, I'm running this. So it says that there is 1981 is not recognized. And when you look at the right, either you can skip file or
Continue.
continue for an on error option. When we did the web UI, right, load options, there are three options: skip file to threshold, abort, and then the fourth one is on error continue. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So that is the one that you have to do here. On error equal to skip file. Skip file will skip the file. Okay. On error abort. Abort statement. I don't know whether we do have that on error thing here. No, I don't have that here. Okay. Or on error, if you want to partially load, continue. Skip file 2 means it skips if there are only two errors. It doesn't load anything. So here I'm going to do continue. So four
Partially.
rows partially loaded. And I'm going to do one more time. How many rows got processed?
Zero.
Did it? Why?
Because the file we already loaded. The same file we are trying to load the second time skipped.
Yeah. So that means it has in the metadata that if a file is already loaded, then it doesn't load anything. Are we clear?
Yes.
If a file is
Yes.
already processed, then it won't process the file again. And if you want to still process the file, you have a command called force is equal
Was
to
equal
true.
to true. Yeah.
Okay, you remember this whenever you want to force. And then now what I'm gonna do, I go to my emp1.csv. Okay, edit. I'm just, so if you look at this file, right, it was created on 3/21/21 am. Okay, 3/21/21. I'm gonna change something. I put a tab and then I saved it again. So what is the, still 3/21/21 right? If I come back and then my term stage, overwrite is equal to true. So I have loaded the EMP file. So EMP file also, last time when we loaded, it skipped the file. I'm going and changing the name of the file here. Instead of EMP, I can do EMP as well. One row processed. Let me go and change the EMP1 as well. Where is the EMP1? So this EMP1, I go, I do any changes, I'll just say space and then I'll save. The moment you save, you, and then I have to put that one as well, right? EMP1,
So does it
copy.
made duplicate records or it is vanished everything and reloaded?
Hold on, I'll come there. But now I'm not using force is equal to true and I'm trying to load the record. I have modified something in a file. I loaded the file, name of the file is emp1.csv, and then I'm trying to load into the table. Did it load the data or not?
Partially loaded.
Yes, it is. Yeah, partially.
Meaning, if the file is modified, the signature of the file is gone, changed, then it will load. In the metadata, if you don't, if I run again, right, will it change? No, it doesn't load anything. If you reload the file with the same name, and if the signature is modified, then only it will load the data.
So, meaning Sagar, the MD5 value will be changed if there is
Yes,
something.
the MD5 hash gets modified, so it identifies based on the signature of the file. So I reloaded the same file again. I did not change. Last time I opened the CSV file and did a tab and then save it again. And so now if I go and say copy into command, right? See, whenever you put the file into this particular stage, the signature gets modified, and you have to make sure when you're trying to load the data. It loads the data when you restage the file. I'll do put the file again. Copy into. See, 11 records. So whenever you restage, the file signature gets modified when that particular file. So Snowflake goes and looks at the stage, and when was the last file, when was the new file added, it thinks this is a new file, and then reprocess the file. Okay. Now the question is, right, I have a file, the emp1.csv. and now I have loaded the data. Okay, and then partially loaded. When I load it again, right, what happens? The entire file.
It will be skipped.
No, it loads the
Ah.
entire data set again.
Oh, okay.
So in this scenario, you have to have a staging table is needed. Okay, I'll go and then create or replace table emp underscore scg. Okay, the same similar thing. So we'll do one thing. First, make a neat copy of this one, right? Yeah, one more scenario. Now, if I load this data, what happens? Does it load again? Does it skip or load? Zero files process.
Skip.
Truncate table emp. Okay. If I load again, what happens? Does it skip? The, does it load?
It's load. It will throw an error.
Why?
No,
We
it will load
truncated
because
the
the
table.
truncate is
We
metadata DDL statement. Yeah.
yeah. Whenever you load this table, right? Whenever truncate the metadata information about the file, when was it loaded, everything is gone. It's reset. So truncate is a dangerous command. Don't do truncate, so that if you cannot have the metadata, that you will be lost. But if you go and query the views, you will still have the files when were that loaded and everything, but you can't get as part of the select statement. Okay. So if you go and do this again, right? Now I have truncated. It loaded 15 records. On error, continue. The file skip. That means for the first time after the truncation of your data, we're all good. So it thinks that the metadata is reset. So whenever you reload the file, it loads the file again. And after that, if you load many more times, it just skips the file. Truncate resets the metadata. You have to remember that. Okay. And then now, so I came to this file. So think that the name of the file that I'm trying to load is emp1.csv, right? I'll make save as. Okay. So I'm gonna change my data because the you got a production file, and then the production file you are trying to think this is a real time scenario. You got a file and you have identified some records, failures in the records. And we told the guy who has sent us the CSV file, boss, look at this, there is some errors, I am not able to load. I have partially loaded the data. Can you fix and send me out? And he generated the same data set again. And this time, what he has done, instead of hyphens, he put slashes. Replace all. All of them are corrected now. I just saved emp11.csv. Think that emp11. I'm gonna save this. Where is this emp1.csv? So we have still hyphens, right? The same emp. I'm fixing this now. Replace hyphen with slash, replace all. 8 occurrences were replaced. Okay, I'm saving this, and now I put the file again. emp1.csv. I'm pushing it. List at the rate of my temp stage. So you understood what I have done, right? There is a file sent into the production environment, and you have identified there are some errors, and you have partially loaded the file, and you communicated back to the team that, guys, I got a file which had some errors in it. Can I just fix them and send it back? So when they fix it, right, they are not going to fix only erroneous records. If they send you the entire file again, how do we load the data? So now I have loaded the data. If I say select star from EMP, how many records will I have? I have 11 rows. The other rows, 4 rows were failures. If I load the file again, because I now fixed my file, I'm going to put the file. If I load the data, right, what happens now? How many records will I be loading?
So those
50.
Sorry?
All the records.
All the records. What happens to the data in my table? I already have 11 of them.
As
So
metadata signature changed.
no, file, it's a new file, right? You fixed the file and pushed it into the stage. Whenever you push this file into the stage, it's a new file for it, because the signature has been modified on the stage. It looks for the old timestamp of the file and the new timestamp of the file in the stage, and the old timestamp was different, new timestamp is different. It thinks it's a new file and it loads the data. So if I do this right,
So
will it load the data or not?
it will
Yeah, it
load
will
11
load the.
records as duplicates.
I, I think
Yeah,
it
you
is
have.
going to overwrite.
No. How does it override? It's insert statement. Copy is always a insert statement. It is going to it's going to insert duplicate records.
Okay.
And in Snowflake, there is no primary key, foreign key that you can validate. You can create a primary key and foreign keys, and unique keys. They are dummy. Snowflake doesn't enforce them. The moment you load, it happily takes. We'll see that later part. But right now, it creates duplicate records. So how do you handle this scenario? What I'm gonna do, right? emp underscore stage. Now I'm loading into emp underscore stage. So 15 records got inserted. Now I have all 15 records in a staging table. This is a staging table. Merge into emp using emp underscore stage on I always forget the syntax of this particular thing. Hold on 1 second, guys. I just stop here only because I have to write the entire statement, or I'll write it. Just waste of time. E dot job. You go to es dot job, comma e dot after job. What is the mgr hire date? I have to write the e dot mgr es dot mgr, comma e dot hire date es dot hire date, comma salary commission department e dot sal. So normally we don't write employee number because employee number is the key. That means this is the primary key. So you're not going to change the employee number. We are going to change the other details, right? So this is what when matched. Okay. When not matched, when not matched, then insert EMP number. I have to write the whole thing again. I can use this one here. Yes, that name. Yes, you are able to follow me what I'm doing, right?
Yes, Shankar. You can see this, right? Name, job, manager. Here we have to write es dot empnmo because this number is also not there, not matched. Employee number, e-name, job, manager, hire date, salary, commission, department number. Insert into values. Insert values. That's it. Okay. So this is the command that I run. Update when match, update when not match, insert. Unexpected update, unexpected insert. What the heck? Insert into the mistake.
No, no, no. When you are using merge,
Oh,
you
okay.
also already know that, right?
Yeah.
On e.emp, emp using nation stream, using this table on this particular condition when
Then is not used, I think.
Then, yeah, then we have missed.
uh,
I said when, right? When matched.
When not matched,
Then
then.
Yeah, when matched, then update. When not matched, then insert. When matched, update. When not matched, insert. I did not do any wrong.
then insert.
Then
When
rewrite.
not matched, then
Oh, yeah,
insert.
yeah, 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 yeah. Then, right? Unexpected update. Yeah, I missed the then part of it, right? Then EMP stage does not exist or not authorized. What the heck? Where did we create the EMP stage? System computer application.
SPG.
Oh, STG, right? Sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My bad. Oh, shit. Guess what? I'm running out of battery. 1 second. See, number of rows inserted 4, number of rows updated 11. Okay. So using image now, if I say select star from EMP, do I have any duplicates here? Yes, are
No
you able to follow me?
duplicates.
So
Yeah.
when you have a duplicates, when you're reprocessing the file, you have to make sure you. This is not normally this scenario. In production environments or any environment, you'll have a staging table, and you have a final table, and then you get your data into staging, and from there you sync it up to your target table. Are we clear?
Yes. So Sagar, even the sort by order by everything will work, right, in the select.
Yeah, 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 everything will.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll talk about a scenario. So this is the scenario. Load a file into the stage, load data into table. If errors, log the errors in a separate table, generate a error log file for email communication. So this can be done externally using a Python or Java or anything. So Snowflake does not support any mail communication. It doesn't have a mail server inside Snowflake. So whenever you want to do this, you have to call a shell script or something else, and then you have to send out a communication. Okay, and move the CSV file into an archive directory. That means once your file is loaded properly, then you have to move it into the archive directory, because this file is loaded, and after in the archive, after 1 week or 10 days or 1 month, whenever you want to delete, you can delete from the archive. That's what this scenario happens in the production environments. You understood this particular thing, right? Use case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we, if there are any errors, log the errors in a separate table? This is the important part of it, right? So now I have a file, IEMP
one I have already modified for you, right? I have to file open emp11 will have still file save as. I'll just emp1.cs. Yes, already opened in Notepad. Where is this emp1? No, open. emp says ah, file save as. I'll say emp1. Yes, now it's done. So put emp1. Okay, now emp1 is there, and then I'm trying to load the data. Copy into right. Okay, so copy into emp. On error, continue. If I say this right, what happens? emp1.csv. I have just loaded emp1 and it had errors.
Data is
Yeah,
loading partially.
a partial data load happens. Okay, now I have to log the errors. How do you log the errors? So before loading the data, you can validate them. How do you validate before loading the data? I've already loaded it, but before loading the data, how do I validate?
Validation mode.
Yes, copy into emp underscore stage from at the rate of my temp stage slash emp1 dot csv file underscore format. See here, I'm not reading anything, so I can write file format is equal to my csv format. And if you're reading $1, $2, then you have to write like this: my brackets open file underscore equal to greater than my csv format. Okay. Okay. Validation underscore mode is equal to return errors. 0 rows produced. Oh,
It should return some errors.
yeah, we have
You
already
already
loaded.
loaded it.
Yes, yes, before loading itself.
EMP stage checker. You need to truncate EMP stage.
Yes. See, I got 4 records. So these 4 records should be stored in a table. That is the use case, right? So
Yeah.
there is another table function in Snowflake called a result underscore scan. Select table of select star from table of result underscore scan brackets open last query ID. This is another function. Okay. If I use this, I am telling to this function, use the last query ID. Which is the last query ID? My copy into command query ID. And then reading the results of this particular table. Now again I have to run this. Last query ID is a function. See, I can read the results. So you can go and then read the results of any SQL query by passing the query ID. And you can read this for 14 days. The data will be there for, no, sorry, 24 hours. If your query ID is between 24 hours, you can pass the query ID to result scan function and then you can read the results. So this becomes very handy when you are trying to handle lot of performance issues. The reason is, right, whenever you run a query and there is no change and you have a lot of data returned as part of your query, then you can use that result set and you can manipulate the data. Whenever you are reading from the results, so meaning the results are already cached. You are trying to read from the cache. When you read from the cache, there is no compute charges, free of cost. Are you able to follow me?
Yeah.
See, these selects are from result cache. Do you see any size here? No size. That means it is not using a compute warehouse. So you are not charged for it. Okay. So I'm going back and then, so let me tell you what it is. So select last underscore query ID. This is the function that gives you the last query ID. This is the query ID. So this query ID is part of the previous query that got executed. If I say last query ID again, right? This query ID is this select statement's query ID. If you keep on running, right, it keeps on changing, gives you the query ID of the previous select statement. And this particular query ID is unique across the globe. It is generated only for you, unique across the entire universe. Once a query ID is generated, whenever it's a query ID again, it cannot be duplicated. And whenever you're trying to talk to Snowflake community, you can refer the query ID that you have some issues and they will be able to figure out. Okay. So, and you can set parameters in Snowflake. Set last QUID is equal to select, and you have to refer with a dollar, the parameter, this last local parameter. Basically variable, not a parameter. It's a use. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so and set emp count equal select count on from emp select dollar emp underscore count. I don't think there's any data I have loaded or something. So you can So you can set these variables. You can create variables and set them, and you can use them. So when I use the copy command, right, with validation mode, I'm running this. So set QID, last query ID, equal to last underscore query underscore ID. Which query ID it will save? This particular copy command's query ID is saved into this particular variable. So I can say select star from table of result underscore scan, and then I can use dollar $QID. I have these 4 rows all the time because I've saved this in a variable, right? The variable is saved. I can use it, reuse the same thing. Create table emp log. This log is already exists. Data is created. And if you run any more time, like if you want to insert, you can use the data as well. Instead of table creation, insert, because your log is already now insert into emp log select star from. So whenever you do a validation mode, you can use the result scan function, get the results of the copy command that you have executed by reading the, if there are any errors, right? And then load that particular thing into your table. Are we good, guys? Are you able to follow me?
Yeah, Shekhar. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So, so the use case that I asked you, right? That is done now. And then what was the next one? Send out a mail. Sending out a mail is not there in Snowflake. You have to send out a mail using your Python or shell script. You call this from a shell script, and if you identify any records, then you have to get the values and then send out a mail. You have to write a programming logic for that. That is now, and the last one is, right, it is asking to move it into a which archived file. They want this file when think that the emp1 is now successful. They want to move that into an archived stage. So if you want to move that into an archived stage, right? So think that this is my, one second, this is my archive directory. Where is this archive directory? It is on my premise. Archive directory is not part of Snowflake. It's not part of any staging. Once the file is processed, wherever the file before, it was in your premises on your laptop, you loaded it and then the load is completed. Now you want to move it into archive directory. So what I'll do, right, this is my directory. There is a get command similar to put command. So how, what is the command for put command? Can you tell me what is the syntax for put command? Put and
Put
then
file, small letter,
yeah,
colon, double
yeah,
slash,
yeah, path of
and
the
the path
file.
of the file.
Okay, the
At the
same
rate,
way
stage name.
at the rate stage, I'm perfectly fine. So list at the rate of my temp stage, right? This is where my file is. My emp1.csv, I have to move it into an archive directory. Put, there is a command called get, which is opposite of put. Get
at the rate of, one second, get from stage file colon slash slash. You use put file and the directory, sorry, and the stage. Here, get from stage and put it into my this particular path. Downloaded EMP. So whenever you want to move it into an archive directories, right? You have to use the get command because it's OS specific. You have already loaded your file from EMP from your on-premises or Linux box to the cloud, and you have processed the file, and you want to move back. You have to move back to your OS that is on your premises or the Linux box by using the get command. Are we clear?
Yeah.
No, but
Yep.
Shekhar,
Yes.
this get command, right? It will move from stage to local. Will
Hmm.
it clear from the stage, or a copy of it will be available in the stage after get command as well?
Yeah, you want to purge.
Can you
You have
use
to
it now?
go on. Yeah, it will be there. I did not delete anything at all, right? It will be there.
Yes.
But using copy command, if you're trying, if it's successful, let me show you one scenario on that. Okay.
Fudge equal
So
to true, I think.
yeah, so I have this emp1.csv, and I'm not using validation mode. On error, err for continue, purge equal to true, force equal to true. I'm loading one more time. So list at the rate of my temp stage. Do you see EMP1, EMP file? When it's after
No.
loading, if it is successful, purge is equal to true. So let's do with EMP1. On error, continue, purge is equal to true, force is equal to true. So whenever it does the partial load, it thinks everything is fine, then it purges the data. It gave you details. When it's a purge is equal to true, force is equal to true is just to reload the file again. If not, it skips the file. When it's a purge is equal to true, even the partial load is done, then it files, it removes the file.
Oh, okay. So can you repeat this purge is equal true? It will just remove from the location, from the stage location, right?
So yeah, I just loaded the emp1.csv, and then I have on error continue, purge is equal to true. If I don't say on error continue, right, and I still say purge is equal to true, force is equal to true, I have some errors in the copy command. If I go on, my file is still there. If you're trying to load without on partial loading or any loading, if it's partially successful or full successful, then it goes and purges the file. If not, it keeps the file. See here, I did not load the data, I just say purge is equal to true, but the copy command failed, and then it keeps the file. If it is successful partially or fully, then it goes and purges the data. So I'll say on underscore error on error is equal to continue. This is the file.
If a file is partially processed or fully processed, when you use a purge command, it goes and deletes the file. Are we clear? If you don't use on error continue any load options, and whenever you run, it throws an error, the file is still, even if you use a purge command, this file will be still in your stage. Are we clear?
See, after successful load, can we continue to archive that the same
Yeah,
statement?
you can archive. Then you cannot use purge is equal to true in your command, right? If you want to archive that, you cannot delete that. You have to get into your archive directory and then go ahead and use a remove command from the stage.
Okay, so you cannot do it in single command, in a single statement, right?
No, you cannot do that. You have to use multiple statements.
Yeah.
Okay, are we good? Now let's look at another scenario. Where is my file? How many?
Shekhar sir,
Mhm,
generally in organization when we have loads of data, whether do
mhm.
they load, then error table will be loaded, then it will be archived and then purged, or how it will be generally?
Uh, Sorry, I lost you. Can
So
you repeat your question again?
yeah, yeah. For example, I have to load 100 files, out of which 5 files have erroneous data. So I
Mhm.
will have to maintain those files in a separate directory, and whatever the load are done successfully, have to maintain in a separate directory. That can be done, right? And or
Yeah,
generally how
and that's what normally whenever your load happens, right? They move that into an archive directory and keep it for a week and then delete that. So, but keeping it in the archive directory, that is on premises, that is your own Linux box. So there is no cloud charges or anything. So you are already purchased a Linux box and you store that. So that is just only for auditing purposes. What kind of file came in and how many errors, to make sure that the file is, that particular data is intact, right? You will keep it for a week, and then after that archiving policy is up to company. If you have too much of data, then you can keep it for 3 days or 1 day or 7 days. It's up to the company, but we normally archive the data and keep it so that we'll have the audit trail of what files came in, what files loaded, and all this stuff.
okay.
Okay, where is my new file that I, okay, now pre-validate. Put file into the stage, pre-validate data for any errors, copy into table from stage, validation mode is equal to return errors. If found, log the errors into a table. Create table error log as select star from table of results care task query ID. Okay, and this particular this is the last query ID, right? You can get the query ID and then pass the query ID. You can save the query ID into a variable. We have seen all this stuff, right? I'm gonna do a copy command again. So emp else if force is equal to true. Okay, because there is no emp at all, right? We have done that. Select star from
table of result underscore scan hyphen -1. You don't need to get into variable all this stuff. If you say -1, the preceding query ID it uses that. But when you say -1, right, then it's gonna fail because the -1 is select star from table. It looks for this data set. Okay, I can say 1, maybe 2, no result found. 3, I have loaded the emp.csv. So if you start with 1, 2, 3, whenever your session got connected, the first query, second query, third, it starts from that particular thing. Whenever I reconnected to SnowSQL, right, it gives me the first query, second query, third query, fourth query. When you say -1, it goes from bottom up. 1, 2, 3, it comes from top down. Top down is your connection point. Whenever you connected to SnowSQL, right, or the worksheet, it works. All of the SQLs except the put and get, everything works in worksheets. When you say 1, whenever your worksheet, you connected to your worksheet or you open a new worksheet, and then you say 1, it gives you the first query of that particular session. Okay, this comes pretty handy. Okay, so I'll say select star from emp, copy command is not there. I have 53 rows. Okay, result scan -1 will give me this particular thing. But when you're trying to read the results from this particular table, right, you can filter the data as well. So if you look at select star from table 1, right, it goes and gives you the result set of this particular thing. But when you want to filter it, right, you have to, for example, if you want to filter it by, filter the result set by department number, you have to use it in double quotes. Where we equal to 10. See, only 20 rows. I can filter the data and result set. You can play around on the result set data, but you have to make sure when you are trying to read from the result, this particular column should be part of the result set. Yes, are you able to follow me?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is how you can. We'll talk about result set little more detail. For now, you understood how to. So let's go and look at the scenario one more time. The post validate. So now I don't want to validate. I partially loaded the data, and I want to see what are the errors that happened after the load is done. Post validate. Post validate means now I have this file, right, list at the rate of my temp stage. No data. The purge was there. I think that's the reason it is put. I put this file. Okay. Now pre-validate means before loading, we used validation mode is equal to return errors, and then we logged the data into a table by create table or insert into table. You were able to understand that, right? Pre-validate part of it. We
Yes,
use,
Shankar.
yeah. Now I'm going to load the data. I'm not going to use validation mode, but I want to see what are all the errors. If I say this one, right? Where is this copy command? Yeah, I'll say force on error continue, because this is a new file that I loaded, right? It should load the data. So how many files will it be, how much data will it be loading?
So I'm not using any validation mode. 15 rows parse, 11 rows loaded. Error limit 15, error seen 4. This is the first row of the error.
I can't hear you, Shikhar.
Now is it the same with everybody, guys? You guys cannot hear me?
We can hear you. I can hear
We
you.
can hear you.
Okay, then you have to connect back, please. Okay. Okay, then. Now the scenario is right. Now I have loaded the data, but I need to know what are all the rows that got failed. Are you guys able to follow this scenario? I have loaded the data, all good, fine. But I need to know what are the errors, what are the rows which had errors, right?
Yeah.
There is another function similar to result scan. Select star from table of validate, and you have to give the table name emp or emp underscore stage. There is no codes or nothing. Job underscore id. You can get the query id and pass it here, or similar to -1 -2, right? You can use course underscore last. That means, let me hold on. For this particular validate function, I'm telling, get me the last load that happened. Get me the last load. Last load means underscore last means whenever the query id of the last copy statement that happened on this particular table. Oh, my mistake. It has to be like this. We did not load anything at all. On error, continue. We got force equal to true. Oh my god, we have purge is equal to true. That's a mistake. Put file, copy into statement. I'm going to take this purge part of it. On error, continue. Force is equal to, we don't need force because we just loaded the file into stage, right? And then see, I got this 4 records. I did not say validation mode here. Did I say validation mode? See, copy into command. No validation mode. What I'm able to use. This is post validate. Once the load is done, and not only this one, if you go and look back in your data, and then you can identify what are all the loads that happen, and if you can get the query area of that particular copy statement, you can get the validate function. And the data, you can get it for almost 14 days. 14 days of data can be retrieved. Whatever the copy command that you have run previously also. If you can get the query ID, then you're good. You just pass the query ID instead of last, right? So if I go and then look at the copy command, right? The query ID. Okay. I don't need to use the last. I can use the query ID. See, I'll get the 4 rows. If you can capture the query ID for 14 days somewhere else, then you can easily get your data. plain and simple. You go to your there is a I'll tell you, there is a copy history view. You go look at it, identify the SQL, come back to the your query history, look for the query ID, and then use the validate function to get the data. Okay, this is the post validate. Put file, load, check for any errors, on error, continue, right? Here in the previous word, we have used copy into table with validation mode. Here I am not using any validation mode. On error, continue. Check for any errors. Create table log, select start from tab, emp, and make sure that the table doesn't have any quotes here. Remember that. Job underscore ID. So this underscore ID equal to greater than symbol. Underscore last. Give me the last query ID on this particular table kind of thing. Fix and load, and then you can use get command to archive, right? I've given all the details here. So this is a scenario that we normally follow. And whenever you force the data, right, that means the data is sitting in your snowflake metadata, and that particular thing file sits in your metadata for 64 days. So the load history, whatever the files that you have loaded, sits in your metadata for 64 days. The copy history, copy command is for 14 days. You can go back and look at your, I'm going to show you that, but when a file is loaded, and the metadata of the file will be there for 64 days. And whenever you want to reload the file, two options: you can get the file to the stage again, or you remove, basically you remove the file and get the file, or you can override the file so that it loads it again, or you can use force is equal to true option to reload that. This is, or you can go and change the timestamp of the file and get into stage, then it reloads it. Or if you truncate, it does the loading again. So these are the four options that can be used to reload the same file. If not, it doesn't allow to reload the file. It skips the file. If you want to load after 64 days, there is another parameter that you have to use. I'll tell you later. Okay, are we good?
Yes.
Yes, Shekhar.
So I have shown you all kinds of scenarios that happen in the real world. When you get duplicate data, how do you put it into staging table? How do you merge that? Or how do you handle data? How if the file is new? On the interview purposes also. If you go ahead and listen this recording again and then note down all the points, right? You whenever somebody asks you any interview questions on data ingestion, you should be able to answer them. I have covered all the scenarios. Okay, and then let's see one more scenario. Okay. Can I refer my temp stage here? Will it work?
Yes.
What is the error it's showing? Temporary stage is session specific. This is not the session that I have created my temporary stage. My temporary stage is created in this session. So this is a different session, right? This doesn't know about the session, the NoSQL session. So temp stage is only session specific. I can create a temporary stage here. And this temp stage and that temp stage, two are different. Are you able to follow me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Cool. So now I have list at the rate of, and I can refer my stage because this is a permanent stage. So I have one file, right? Okay, I'm gonna do some. I have a table called snowflake 100 TCL store sales, and the table name is store sales. It has about 288 billion records, 10.9 terabytes. Okay, this is the table. Create replace table store sales like. When you say like, it gets only the structure. It doesn't get any data. Select star from store sales. No data. Now what I'm gonna do, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, 10 million, 100 million. Okay. Okay. I'll explain you this command later, but for now, don't think anything. I'm just trying to generate some sample data for you to show you how I can load 100 million records into a table. List at the rate of my stage. I have 99 rows. I'm still going. Done. Yeah. So 27. Now think that I have already loaded. So I have loaded some data into a stage from my command from on premises, which I had about 99 rows. So 98 rows only, and each of them of, if you look at right, 14 MB, 16 MB, 14 MB, 16 MB kind of data sets. I have 98 of them. Okay, and think that these files were in your on premises and you have pushed it into, so there is a customer data that got generated and then you loaded into your stage. Now I have to load this into my store sales table because I have generated the data from store sales only. Okay, so this is all store sales data. I have generated the data from store sales table only. So I want to, but this is a different schema altogether, database altogether. From a different database, I have generated some files, some CSV files, zipped CSV files that are there in my stage. So to visualize it, you think that there was this data that for 100 million records, they have given you 98 files and they put it in your Linux box. So you use the put command and you loaded all of them into this your, I can show you that example as well. My stage. Okay. Ah, it's going to take a lot of time, guys. I have to exit this. It takes a lot of time. It's kind of little difficult to show you, but let it be here. So now if we go to the temp stage, right? Think that you have already loaded into your temp stage. List at the rate of my stage from your local machine. SFDB and SF schema. List at the rate of my stage. Underscore stage. I have all these files. Now if I want to load this data into my table, right? Copy into store underscore sales from.
Shekhar, your screen is not moving for us.
So what do you see here?
List at the rate my stage
Shaker,
and
your screen
And
is
then
like struck up. I can see the like web UI.
no, I am in web UI only.
yeah, in web
I'm
UI only. While changing
can you
the database and schema, right, that is stuck. Suppose that we are.
okay, let me yeah. How about now?
No Shaker.
No
Yes.
change. Yeah,
Can you
now
write?
I think refreshed.
Yep.
Yeah, now it's refreshed.
Okay. Copy into you can see this right? Copy into store sales from my stage. See, these are the files that I already got. I'm trying to get into archive, right? How many of them? I have 60 of them right now. Total is, see, when I said parallel, right? Lot of them are running in parallel. Without the extension, they are running in parallel. So there are total of 90 of them.
Shekhar, can
I-
you share
I-
me this video today? Actually, I am not able to understand somewhere.
Sorry.
Can you share me this video to us?
Why not? So what is the question? Tell me, I can repeat that for you. So the last step, whatever I'm trying to do, were you not able to understand that?
Yeah.
So first part, I don't have 100 million data with me to to show you that this is the number of files that I have, which has about 100 million records, so that I can show you some data ingestion where I am trying to load 100 million records into a table, right? So first, what I've done, I've created a table called store sales, similar to store sales table in Snowflake sample database. Are we clear here? So far, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. And what I have done is, right, normally we are looking at data ingestion, that is data loading into the table. For generating 100 million records, I have done an export kind of thing, unloading. That is similar to copy statement only. Normally copy into table from stage. This is data loading. What
Yes.
I did is, right, copy into stage from table, data unloading. I generated some 98 files from the table dataset. The table had in Snowflake sample it has 288 billion records, out of which I extracted 100 million records, which created 98 files for me in a stage. Are we clear?
Yeah.
On
So
what basis
this
these 98 files are created, sir?
that is the next session. We'll talk about data unloading. I'll explain you the whole part. For now, forget about this. I am trying to simulate a huge data set so that I can show you how this data can be pushed into a stage, and from there how it can be loaded into a table. I'm trying to simulate that because I don't have that data set with me. You guys are able to follow me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, how many of them are done so far now? I have 109 items. There were some previous items as well, but hold on for 2 minutes. How many of them are done? Data 0 to so 51. So 91 out of them. Things are still remaining. So if you look at right, the file names gets changed here. These are all done files. The other things are running in parallel. Okay, hold on. I think we should be good enough in 5 minutes. So I'm trying to let's see. Hold on, guys. Once I am done, then I can simulate this and I'll show you what it is. Two more 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62. So it should be done. Hold on for a few minutes. It should we'll end this session with this example where so let me tell you my scenario now. Okay, my use case. I have a table. Forget about whatever I have done, right? Forget about all this stuff. I have a table called store sales in Oracle. So the team is a full load. Think I am doing a full load, and the table is having 100 million records. Right? So my ETL team sent me 98 files which had with 100 million records in it. Each file size of 16 or less. These are the file size that I got. Some of them are 12, some of them are 8 MB, 16 MB or less. Okay. So this is the scenario. I have to load this data into the table. You guys tell me now, how do you do that? I have these files, 98 files or how many, 98 files or whatever the files in my local system, in my on-premise Linux box. They have used the ETL tool or something and generated 98 files and they have put it in my Linux box. Now we have to load the data into store sales table. How do you do that?
Load them into staging, and from staging we can copy into
Okay. So now I
In
have
copying,
all the.
use parallel.
parallel.
1 second. Now I'm gonna delete 1 second my stage. I deleted all the files I don't want to have. So 99 rows are there. I have all my data in my archive directory, all of them. How many files are there here? There were some partially which I killed, right? I killed my session. I don't want EMP. So how I have 98 records. Okay, right? And if I say this is my folder, and then you can see, right, 16 MB, 16 MB, 16 MB, 13 MB, 12 MB, 16 MB. So if I look at the entire size, right, 1.46 GB. Can you see this?
Yeah.
98 items, 1. So now the entire data that I have is 1.46 GB. I have to load this data into a table, and the name of the table is store sales. How can you do this? You have to guide me how to do that. First step.
Yes, Shekhar. First, we need to create the file format. Then we go to the create
So
the stage object.
So
that's let's go
while
and look at.
putting right shaker, you need to use that expression one.
Yeah,
File
I'll do.
pattern.
Let me see what is the data in this file, right? I'll use a
Yes.
7-zip and then extract here only. I'm extracted. I'll have a folder here. See, this is the data, right? This is the file in the zip. If I go and then edit with Notepad, I don't have a header. I don't have double quotes. I have single quotes. It's a plain CSV. Forget. Normally, you have to create a file format, but here I don't need a file format. It's plain and simple. All numbers. It happily loads without the file format as well. By default, whenever you're trying to load, Snowflake thinks that is a CSV file and it loads the data, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Correct.
I can use the same default for now,
Yes.
okay? But that is not the case. You will have a special file format that you are going to get, and then you have to use a file format to load the data in a real world.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the file that I have. And if you look at this, right, I have how many number of records? Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, million. 1 million records it cramped into one particular CSV file, and that is zipped, which came out to be 16 MB. So how many records I do have here? So I have to have 100 million records is the one that I'm trying to load, right? So this is the scenario. I'm gonna go there and delete this file because it's all okay. And then I'm gonna remove at the rate of my temp. Okay, does not exist. Show stages. My test. Okay, create or replace temporary stage. My temp stage. Okay, now I have to put this data. I have 1.46 GB with me. So how do you put this data?
Using put command, instead
Yeah,
of writing there, keeping that file name, we need to keep some file patterns.
yeah.
Wildcard.
I no put file colon // okay, at the rate of my temp stage parallel is equal to I said 50.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not a file.
But there are multiple files, right, Shaker? So
Yeah.
you need to create that expression command, means expression.
Yeah.
Star dot something.
Shaker 50 means
Mm.
nodes.
50
That is
threads,
nodes.
50 parallel threads it processes. Is it running or not running? What's
No,
happening?
no, no. You give star.gz. All the files are in.
Is that only, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, yes.
all in
Yeah, those.
CSV dot gz.
Yes, star.gz means all the files
Ye-
which has ZZ as the extension. It's running in parallel,
Uh,
the background.
yeah, it's running,
So
but that come right. Yeah.
yeah. So how do you think this success? Is it little realistic? Whatever you're gonna do?
No, it might
Uh,
take time.
yes, Shekhar, this is like we are doing like, I mean, we are loading into multiple files on the same pattern. As of now, we
Yeah.
have discussed only single file. The,
Mm-hmm. And how
so
much? 1.46 terabytes, 100 files, and you're trying to simulate a real-time scenario. Whatever you do in a real time with 100 million, you might not load 100 million records, but when you do it for the first time data migration, you might get into this scenario. Once the full load is done, incremental loads, you won't have 100 million records in any of the tables. So I'm going to talk about when we do unloading, right? I'll give you how to profile your virtual warehouses. What is the optimal number? I'll give you all the details today evening. Okay. On this data load, it's going to take some time.
Shekhar, one observation here.
Mm-hmm.
When the file is not in zipped state on the on premises, like in our laptop, it is
Mm-hmm.
bringing into Snowflake as zip. But in our
Yeah.
case, the file is already in
Mm-hmm.
zipped on premises laptop.
Mm-hmm.
So when it brings that
Mm-hmm.
into stage, it is going to bring as
Mm-hmm.
such a zip, right?
Yes, it's not going to zip
Z.
again. Reason is right. You brought up a nice point by the time they've done. So whenever you try to get 100 files into Snowflake, and then what happens? Snowflake automatically, what does it do? It zips it. So for zipping 100 files, how much time it might take? 1 second per file, for example. So 100 seconds. You are wasting 100 seconds of compute cost because you are utilizing Snowflake to use the zip. That zip, you can do it on your premises itself. You're gonna save 100 seconds. That means when you have thousands of files that you do every day, why do you want to use compute, Snowflake compute, and then pay for you? Anyway, your Linux box is lying around and you can zip it without any cost because you already paid for your Linux. The
Okay.
best way of
Yeah.
loading the data is CSV zipped because when it transfers, the amount of data that you are trying to transfer is minimal because 1.47 TB that I showed you in the folder is zipped data set. If you unzip the entire thing, how much would that be? It will be about 5 terabytes or 6 terabytes. So the reason I zipped it, all the 6 terabytes, I now have only 1.4 terabytes. And whenever I am pushing the data into the stage, I am pushing it zipped file. That means I have limited the data transfer. The network traffic I have reduced from 6 terabytes to 1.4 terabytes. You always use CSV zip so that the data that has to be pushed onto the cloud is you are minimizing the data transfer amount as well. If you haven't zipped it right, how much data that you have to load? 6 terabytes because it's a CSV and there is no formatting. Whenever you zip, it does 80% shipping. Okay, if you go
And
look
one
at
more
this
thing,
file,
Shankar, yeah, and this much data transfer, what we are doing, right? Will it consume our internet also? Means because we are doing this much
yeah, why not? Why
GB.
not? Why not? Yeah, you should have a good bandwidth.
So ultimately, while loading into the Snowflake, whether it is a zip file or not direct CSV file, it has to be unzip in on the Snowflake side and do right.
No, it can directly read zip files as well. It doesn't need to
Unzip it.
unzip and do it. Snowflake has the capability of reading the zip files automatically.
No, so Shekhar, what I'm asking is internet speed should be good. That's not an issue, but that much
Hmm.
GB of data will be consumed from our account, internet account. No, right?
Which which internet account? You're talking about the Snowflake storage or
Not Snowflake
the
storage.
data
Our
trans?
now let's say for example, I'm connected with a Geo internet connection here. Okay, now
Hmm.
I'm moving
Yeah,
1 TB of data
definitely,
from
definitely. Yes, answer is yes. You don't need to ask me. Answer is yes. You
so
are
1 TB
consuming
of
your internet for yes, the bandwidth, whatever you have. If you have a limitation of this much number of GBs per day, then you're going to consume that entire thing for sure.
yeah, that was my question because to practice
Yes.
we have limited of 2 GB per day for Geo, no? So
You don't need to practice. Now I am trying to show you, right? You don't need to
mm-hmm.
have this huge data set, but you're not. I just want to mimic a real-time scenario with a large data volume so that I can show you how things work in a real world.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I have limitations. I have 8 GB laptop. That is the reason this is crying like a baby. If I have a 16 GB Apple Mac, right, the data load would have been done now. I have 8 GB, half of it. So whenever you're trying to do this, right? Let me come back. I'll explain you at the time of unloading what are all the performance options that you have to look. Is it fun? Is data ingestion is fun, guys? Are you able to follow me, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Shankar.
Shikhar, so I have one question. Like, ETL
Mhm.
team is gonna submit these files to load, but what will be the part of ETL team if they are going to submit this file to load to the cloud? They would have done it in a directly cloud, right? I know the parallelization cannot happen. This might slow down the process, but
Mhm.
if we have the files ready, then what will be the part of ETL team in this?
Hold on. Where are the files ready?
S3 bucket.
I mean, the whatever the files we have CSV files, will these be
Mhm.
produced by ETL team? You mean to say?
See, what is the end goal? You have a table in Oracle. You are trying to get it into Snowflake for the first time. How do you do that?
Okay, one can we can extract it from some ETL tool and generate the file, and then from here.
Mhm. Mm-hmm. Yes,
Okay,
you answered your question.
okay, got it.
So during this
Clear?
process going on, what is the consumption on Snowflake side? Can we monitor that performance there?
No, you cannot do that. So you put is a OS command. You are trying to put it into the cloud. So Snowflake, you're writing into the stage. You're writing into Snowflake stage environment in parallelly. So that's you have some consumption on the Snowflake part of it. That is very minimal because the compute credits are not being used full. But when you see put command, right, your compute warehouse is being used. So you'll be charged for it. Let's go to the history and see.
Shaker, actually, right now we didn't mention any error statements in the SQL, right? If it is get error, what would we associate?
Which SQL statement that you're talking about?
Like,
Are
just
we
now
using any? Are we
we are
using
running put command, right?
any? Put command doesn't have any SQL statement, right? You're using the put command when you see, right? Is there any size mentioned here? So
No.
if you use this put file, right? Put file, this one, single thing. I'm not, so when you come to the worksheets, right? So history, it doesn't have any, so it utilizes Snowflake's virtual warehouses. We are not charged for it. I should have loaded into my stage so that we could have seen the count how many have been done. So the temporary stage I cannot refer this temporary stage somewhere else. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's take a break. We'll come back in the evening and let's finish this 100 million records loading, and then we'll do the unloading part of it. It's already 9:45, right? It's a big class. Thank you so much, guys. So I skipped the class yesterday evening. That's the reason I'm extended a little more, but I have made it up to you. I've given you all the scenarios, all the real-time scenarios, and we are trying to simulate a bigger scenario here as well. So let me finish this, and then when we come back in the evening, right? Let's do the data load first, and then we'll
Uh,
talk about the data unloading part of.
Shekhar, it's a quick question. As of now, we are like keeping the data from files to staging. So let's take this one.
Yes.
Like source is an, like Oracle or Teradata. So that
Mm-hmm.
case, we have to use some other tools to extract the data from databases and then keeping into file. Again, we are loading the file to staging. This is the thing we have to do. Is there any alternative way to interact with the databases?
You can use Python and then connect to Oracle, connect to Snowflake, read, generate the CSV, and then load the data automatically through Python.
Some third party library is required to interact with databases. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. You can use a JDBC, you can use ODBC, you can use Python, you can use Node.js, you can use any of the tools like Informatica, any ATL tools that you have, data stage, and the Mammalian, a lot of things that you have
Okay,
online as well. So you can use,
yeah, we have to
you
interact with
have
the
to employ,
databases. So the finally
yes,
we need to keep the file format. Then we go to the like Snowflake.
yes.
Okay.
I think his question is also that ultimately we have to create a CSV files and load into Snowflake.
CSV zipped is the fastest way of loading. So once we finish the data unloading, right, I'll give you all the performance consideration, which kind of file, what is the throughput, how do you want to do. I'll give you the performance aspects of data ingestion as well. That helps you to design when you're trying to do a data ingestion strategy as well. We'll come back to that. I'll give you what are all the things that you have to think of when you're trying to do it and how that needs to be done as well. I'll tell you that. Okay.
Shekhar sir, one more quick question.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a dumb question, but just wanted to know, like, as soon as we our old system is, let us think that our old system is Oracle. So certainly we don't need, it
Mm-hmm.
is transformed data. We don't need any transformation. So this can
Mm-hmm.
be done using no JDBC connection, using Python. That would be much more easier than using any of the ETL tools, right?
That is so it depends, right? If your company doesn't have any Java guys or Python guys and they are only ETL guys in your team, how would you do that?
Okay. And performance
And
wise,
you
which would be better?
performance wise, see, you have already paid for your ETL tool. You have paid your license for this, and you have ETL resources as well. The best way is generating a CSV zip using your ETL tool, push it into stage and load that into table. That is the most efficient way of doing things.
Okay, you answered twice question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. So let's call it a day. It's already almost 10 o'clock, guys. Thank you so much for your patience. Let me finish this. So I'll have this data when we connect back in the evening, my time or your morning or evening times, right? We'll just do the data loading, 100 million records, and we'll proceed with the data unloading part of it. Okay.
We'll meet at like 7 p.m. IST.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 p.m. I should be fine. Yeah. Or we can meet at 6 also. If you guys are okay, I can meet at 6 also.
Yeah, we'll meet at 7 p.m. IST, Sekhar.
Okay then. You, Anjali, which part of time zone are you in?
In India.
Then you can meet at 6 also, right?
Yeah, that is also possible.
I thought you were gonna get up in the morning in US time zone.
No, 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 no.
So
I am in
the
India.
problem is, right? Yeah. Let me tell you why I wanted to meet at 6 o'clock. We have a curfew in Bangalore. I live in Bangalore, and from 10 o'clock the entire city is shut down. So if I start at 7, right, 9:30, if I want to finish some household chores, right, if I want to get something to the house or something, then I'm stuck. If we can have at 6 o'clock, right, 6 to 9, 2 hours, we can solidly work on the data ingestion, and I have 1 hour time for me to go and take care of the house things. So let's
6 is
have it
fine.
at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure,
6
I
is
have
fine.
no problem. 6 is fine
Yeah,
as well.
no, yeah. Today, 6 o'clock IST, please bear with me, and then we can slowly
Sure.
change our timings accordingly.
Okay, Shekhar.
Yeah.
No issues.
Sure. Sure. No problem.
Yeah. Yeah, once
Thank you,
again,
Shekhar.
Srihari, are you there? Hold on,
Yes,
guys.
sir. Yes, I'm there.
You are in New Zealand, right?
Yeah, my for me, if it is six will be okay. 12:30 a.m.
No,
next
no, no.
day.
Let's bring it down at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, guys. Please. No, 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 no.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's too late for Srihari. He's from New Zealand,
yeah, yeah,
guys.
yeah,
How many are you from US? Let's have it 5 o'clock, Srihari. Today we'll
yeah.
set up the
Thanks.
schedule. I
Yeah,
forgot you. I'll have it at five
thank you very
o'clock.
much.
No problem. I'll send
Yeah,
out a communication because tomorrow you have to get up and go to the office again, right? So
yeah, correct. Yeah,
let's plan something. Yeah. So let's connect back. I'll
thank you,
send
sir.
out an email. Okay. No problem. Thank you, Srihari.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye. Bye.